When Ben Keller disappeared off the Florida coast, the water was calm, the sky clear, and there was no sign that anything would go wrong. He had been diving for years, professionally trained, methodical, and always prepared. That morning, he launched his small boat just after sunrise, alone, planning to explore a coral reef that was reportedly teeming with new marine life. He carried a GoPro mounted to his helmet, something he'd started doing months prior after a rare dolphin encounter. It wasn't unusual for him to go solo. He preferred the quiet, said it helped him connect with the sea. But this time, he didn't come back. Ben's fiancée, Mia, called the Coast Guard when he hadn't returned by sunset. The first responders found his boat drifting 6 miles offshore the next morning, untouched. The engine was cut, anchor lowered, equipment undisturbed. Inside was Ben's backpack, wallet, phone, and an empty thermos. But he wasn't there. More chillingly, neither was his diving gear. At first, authorities assumed he'd suffered a malfunction or gone too deep and blacked out, a common danger among divers. But something didn't sit right. Mia was adamant. Ben was careful to the point of obsession. He wouldn't have miscalculated. He wouldn't have taken unnecessary risks. And he wouldn't have left his boat untethered unless he planned to return shortly. But days passed, then weeks. No body surfaced. No gear washed ashore. Nothing. It wasn't until nearly 4 months later, when a fisherman accidentally hooked something odd in the deeper channel near the reef, that the case took a surreal turn. At first, they thought it was a tangled net. But when the weight was dragged aboard and untangled, it revealed a scuba tank, a mask, and, still clipped onto the vest, a waterproof GoPro camera. The equipment was confirmed to be Ben's. The memory card was intact. The footage was handed over to authorities and later to Mia. But it didn't leak to the public immediately, because what it contained wasn't just evidence. It was disturbing. It was haunting. And it raised more questions than answers. The footage begins normally. Ben narrates his descent with a calm, matter-of-fact tone, the reef coming into view as sunlight dances through the water. Bright schools of fish shimmer past, coral fans sway in the current. He checks his depth, 72 feet. His oxygen is full. He makes notes into the camera about an unusual sea sponge formation, panning his view slowly across the terrain. Everything is serene. Then, the tone begins to shift. At about 12 minutes in, Ben turns the camera toward a darker patch of reef, a crevice stretching downward like a wound in the sea floor. He hovers there for a moment. "This wasn't here last time," he says. His voice is curious, not alarmed. He flicks on his flashlight and starts to descend, carefully, slowly, into the crack. Inside, the visibility narrows. The coral fades into jagged rock. The marine life thins. As he descends deeper, the light catches on strange, slithering shapes in the distance. Long, translucent, writhing through the shadows. At first, they look like eels. But they're not. At 19 minutes, Ben stops. He's breathing faster. The camera captures him peering into what looks like an underground chamber, a hollow space that couldn't be natural. The walls are smooth. The floor is lined with something that looks like silt, but it shifts, as if breathing. Ben doesn't speak for a while. He turns the camera to his depth gauge, 104 feet. Then he says something strange. "I'm hearing something." There's no sound in the video other than his regulated breathing and the occasional creak of equipment. But Ben looks around nervously, twisting the camera toward the chamber. Then he mutters, "It's behind me." He turns. Nothing. But at 22 minutes, the camera begins to glitch. There's static, then a high-pitched sound, like a metal fork dragging across glass. It goes silent. Ben's breathing becomes ragged. "I need to get out of here," he says, almost in a whisper. He begins to ascend, but slowly, too slowly. He keeps turning around, as if being followed. The footage is chaotic now. The light flickers. Shapes dart past in the dark. Then, at 25 minutes, Ben screams. It's short, muffled by the regulator, but primal. The camera spins violently. Rocks scrape past. There's a flash of something. A pale, elongated face with black pits for eyes. Then silence. At 26 minutes, the camera is still. It lays at an angle, pointed upward toward the crevice's jagged ceiling. You can hear the gentle rush of water, the hiss of escaping air. There's movement, slow, serpentine shadows passing by. Something brushes the lens, softly, like a hand. Then the screen goes black. The GoPro kept recording for nearly 40 minutes after that, but nothing else appeared. Only darkness and the quiet hum of deep water. The footage was analyzed by experts. No tampering, no digital effects, no signs of hallucination due to nitrogen narcosis. Ben's vitals remained stable until the panic set in. The face, captured for a fraction of a second, was studied frame by frame. Some called it a trick of the light. Others, something unexplainable. The public didn't see the footage until a whistleblower within the investigation team leaked it online. It spread quickly. Some viewers were convinced it was a hoax. Others believed it was real, and that Ben had discovered something ancient, hidden deep beneath the sea. Mia was devastated, but she watched the footage repeatedly, trying to understand what Ben had seen. She swore that he wasn't hallucinating. She remembered something strange he'd said just days before the dive. They were lying in bed. He was quiet, distant. She asked what was wrong. He replied, "Sometimes I hear something calling when I'm down there. It's not a whale. It's not sonar. It's like a voice in the dark." She thought he was just tired, or poetic, but now it haunted her. For months, Mia refused to let go. She contacted marine biologists, mythologists, deep-sea divers. She combed maps for uncharted trenches. Her obsession grew. Friends begged her to move on, but she insisted Ben was still out there, somewhere. And then, nearly a year to the day of his disappearance, something unthinkable happened. She received a voicemail. The number was blocked. The message was static-filled, only a few seconds long. But in it, she swears she heard Ben's voice whisper one word: "Help." Experts couldn't verify it. The audio was too degraded. But Mia believed it. She believed that whatever took Ben hadn't killed him. It had taken him somewhere, someplace deeper than anyone had ever gone. She returned to the coast, rented a boat, hired a team of divers. She showed them the footage and asked them to take her to the same crevice. They found it, but this time, the chamber was gone, as if it had closed itself or moved. One diver claimed he felt vibrations in the rock. Another said he heard a voice. They all came back shaken. Mia stared at the waves for hours. She never spoke a word. 3 weeks later, her apartment was broken into. Nothing was stolen, but her laptop, the backup drive with the original footage, and all her printed maps were missing. Mia vanished 2 months after that. Her car was found parked near a cliff that overlooked the ocean. The keys were inside. Her phone was on the passenger seat. There was no note. But in the glove box, they found a single flash drive. On it, a short video clip. It showed Mia, sitting in the boat, smiling. The ocean behind her, calm. She turned the camera to her face. "I'm going to find you," she said softly. "And I'm going to bring you home." Then the clip ends. She was never seen again. The story of Ben Keller and Mia Daniels has since become one of the most talked about ocean mysteries in recent memory. Some say they were victims of a deep-sea predator, an undiscovered species. Others believe they encountered something far worse, an ancient intelligence or portal buried beneath the waves. Whatever it was, it took 2 people, erased a dive site, and left behind only distorted whispers and a single frame of terror. Today, the area where Ben disappeared is marked as restricted by the Coast Guard, due to unusual geological activity. But divers still talk about it. They whisper about the crevice that appeared out of nowhere, about the face in the dark, about the voice that calls from below. And they warn, if you ever hear it calling, no matter how curious you are, no matter how calm the water may seem, don't follow it. Because whatever waits down there doesn't let go.